Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so I hope everyone could find themselves in their peace and relaxation. So today I'm gonna be talking to you about a very important spiritual, dimension in the Buddhist teachings, which is called mindful eating and mindless eating. You might have heard these two words as hot topics in modern day life, but I'm gonna connect. I'm gonna explore more into the Buddhist teachings and how this topic affects and relates to all of us. Before all of this, I'm just wondering, what do you know about what Buddha said as to how to respect the Buddha? There's a very good example in one of the stories in the Dhammapada. This is about what happened when Buddha was going to pass away. Before 4 months of his passing away, the Buddha announced that he would pass away in 4 months. And then what happened? The unenlightened monks and nuns who have not even enlightened, they were really worried and sad, and they were really upset about this decision. And they found out there was one monk called Dhammarama, Bhante Dhammarama, who was really he was really happy. He was okay. He was not that much worried. He was not that much sad, and he was continuing his practice, meditation and all that. So they were not happy about this monk, and they were informing the Buddha about this incident. And then the Buddha asked that monk, Venerable Dhammarama, Bhante Dhammarama, to come see him. And then Venerable Dhammarama approached the Buddha in front of those monks who were, informing this thing, maybe a misunderstanding. So then Buddha asked Venerable Dhammarama, is it true what these monks saying, that you have this behavior or whatever? And then Venerable Dhammarama respectfully told the Buddha, dear Buddha, we all know that you're going to pass away in 4 months. So I thought the best way to respect you is to follow the path that you showed us by meditating and eliminating, overcoming all the defilements and become an arahant before you pass away. And then the Buddha said sadhu, 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 excellent, excellent, excellent 3 times. And then he told the group of monks that there are people who respect me in different ways, especially 2 ways: Amisa Puja and Patipatti Puja. Amisa Puja means that anybody can offer Buddha flowers and all these offerings, and those of them who practice the Buddha, in order to understand what he taught. So these are 2 categories. But I know that there are people who balance these 2, and they are the ones that we really want in the path. So and then Buddha said, the best way to respect me is to follow the path I showed to you. So that's what we have to keep in mind, at a time that we're going to celebrate Vesak. That's why you gathered virtually here. Okay, so in line with that, I would like to maybe I could share my screen. I don't know, this is a new app for me. Is somebody
video, but there should be like a up arrow and a box kind of.
Up arrow.
That should allow you to store content or share content. I mean.
Oh yeah, I got it. Thank you. Okay. Okay, here we go. So this is a stanza in the Dhammapada, and you could see the translation of a Pali stanza. I would not go to the exact stanza. Like I could read for you though. Whoever lives focus on the pleasant, sense unguarded, immoderate with food, lazy and sluggish, will be overpowered by Mara, as a weak tree is bent in the wind. So the Pali stanza of this verse is this one. Okay, so this one. You could see the words here. You need to specifically look at these words. Indriyesu asangvutang, sense unguarded, and bojanang hicha amatang, that means no moderation in food. Kusitang, lazy. Hina viryang, sluggish. And maru is the famous concept of Mara, and we don't know he was an individual or a concept. And Vatu Rukang Madupalang is a simile. That means if someone is not guarding one's senses, and if someone is not moderate in one's food habits or food eating, if someone is sluggish, if someone is lazy, that person is really a target of Mara. So that's what we see in here. Okay, so the most importantly, we could see that mindful eating is a big part of this verse. That means not everybody of us, thinks that this is a big deal in our life, in our day-to-day life. This does not even, trouble us. In our normal day-to-day life, but also in the spiritual path. So eating habits and mindless eating could be a big problem to all of us, especially when you take a look at how people eat. You could notice this thing. I know that a lot of people eat emotionally. They don't eat physically. They eat because they are emotionally upset, trouble. That's a big issue. That's why we need to distinguish the difference between emotional eating and physical eating to understand this eating in moderation thing. When people want to eat emotionally, we can specifically distinguish those situations this way. So this one of the things that we can notice is emotional eating urge. It comes it comes very fast. It doesn't take time. It comes very fast because you are not looking at whether you really want to eat or not, but because there is an emotion that is troubling you. So, but when it comes to physical eating, it takes time, gradual, because you take your breakfast. If you eat, if you keep your gaps of meals really good, then there's breakfast, there's lunch, there's eating or supper, whatever. So there's a gradual, thing that we can see in that eating, physical eating. But when it comes to emotional eating, one of the things that we can notice is that it comes very sudden because you are troubled. Another thing is that in emotional eating, you crave for specific food. Uh, Most probably, sugary stuff, maybe some, other basic junk food stuff. But when it comes to physical eating, uh, you know, you think what to eat, and you have that enough space to think about what to eat. So you can distinguish even that too. Also, we know that when you eat emotionally, you are not satisfied even after you eat lot of stuff like those junk stuff. Uh, you don't feel that you are full. But when you have a good meal, really good meal, in that physical level, physical hunger, when you are appeasing your physical hunger, uh, you feel that you are satisfying you, to a certain extent, not like in the emotional eating. So this way, you can notice that this separation between emotional eating and physical eating. If you can take a really look at of these two. The reason why I want to bring up these two was to give you some insights about this issue, emotional eating and physical eating. I mean, this difference can really take us to think about mindless eating and mindful eating. Also, you know that there could be different reasons why people, you know, uh, get stuck in the emotional eating stuff. It could be stress. It could be boredom. It could be some habits. It could be some social influence as well. Because in Buddhism, we know eating in moderation is a thing, but you can't expect that whole thing just in one word. You have to, explore more about that thing in your normal life in these ways. So there are different, emotional eating triggers this way: situations, places, and specific reasons. As I told you, stress, stuffing emotions, boredom, childhood issues, maybe some social influences as well. So what you could do in the Buddhist teachings, especially to get back to mindful eating, I could share with you 5 tips for that. The first thing is that when you are on emotional eating, it looks like that you are on autopilot. That means you are eating sometimes while multitasking. We know multitasking is a good thing, but the thing is that if you are not giving your attention to one specific activity at one time, rather than you are doing nothing in all the activities, it's a problem. But when it comes to mindful eating, you are not paying attention to other things.
Sorry, we lost your audio, I think.
Is it good now?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what they heard last time. Did they hear what I?
You were just gonna give the examples, I believe.
Examples of the triggers, emotional eating triggers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I've been talking about emotional eating triggers, especially these triggers relate to situations, places, right? And there could be other reasons too. Stress, boredom, childhood habits. You are still children, but sometimes your past habits when you were really small, and sometimes some I would say social type of gatherings, because you are influenced by other people, right? There are pros and cons. Maybe you might be happy to share your food with other people. At the same time, because you've been influenced by a lot of people, you might eat junk food, you might eat a lot, so overeating, so all that can happen. So I want to share with you 5 Buddhist tips to consider, in order to practice mindful eating, so that we could have a good discussion after. Number one is, we know in the emotional eating, we eating on autopilot. That means, in other words, we focus on something else while we're eating. Well, sometimes we have to, why not? But the thing is, you should be able to focus more about this food experience. Nowadays on YouTube there are, food connoisseurs, right? They go into places and showing you a lot of food, and I think only with these food connoisseurs and people get to like food, and just to get influenced by those people. But it's a good thing. On the other hand, in our normal life, we can't just keep watching YouTube videos, right? We have to maintain our own personal technique, to get onto this. So usually we are eating on autopilot. That means we are multitasking oftentimes. What you have to do is, when you eat, you need to focus all your attention on your food that you are eating, and experience the food. Not get greedy about the food that you are eating, just to focus more about what you are eating, right? So that's the first thing. That's one of the things of mindful eating. Number two, when you are into emotional eating, you are eating to fill an emotional void, right? And you might sometimes not need the food because you are troubled. You might need to open the refrigerator and grab something to eat. Maybe you may have just had something, right? So looks like that you are feeling an emotional void if you are into emotional eating. Instead of feeling an emotional void, you can only satisfy your physical hunger. When you are hungry, only that time you're going to eat something, right? Because sometimes I know there are people who skip meals, right? They don't take their breakfast, they don't take their lunch, they're gonna eat somewhere between dinner and lunchtime. That could be a problem too, because if you don't stay consistent about your food habits, then you're gonna overeat, you're gonna eat a lot. That's a big problem. So stay consistent when you keeping your meals, so that you can satisfy your physical hunger. You will not be prone to emotional eating or mindless eating. Number three is eating junk or comfort food. We know that these are very popular. Not even they are popular, they are easy to buy, right? Nowadays you can go out a lot, but when you go out, the easiest thing to find, easiest food to find is junk food, fast food, which has a lot of sugar, a lot of bad things, processed stuff. But if you want to find out nutritional food, it costs, sometimes it costs a little. Sometimes it takes time to find out. But anyways, if you know that how to make that happen, you're gonna buy, your parents will buy, and you're gonna eat those healthy foods. So that's something interesting, because the reason is that you are growing, and then you need to have this balance. Number four is emotional food. You're going to eat very quick, you're going to eat very fast, right? But when it comes to mindful eating, you eat slowly. Do we need to take time to eat when we are having meals? Yes. Take time to, you have to look at aim at a considerable fair time, rather than wasting your time, but aiming at a certain time to experience the food that you are eating, because it helps the food to digest. Otherwise you are just eating up a lot, which will cause you to be in trouble. The last tip that I want to share with you is that when you eat emotional food stuff, you just stuff your stomach, your tummy. but you are not you are not actually you are not actually looking at the real urge of food. But if you really want to look at your urge of hunger, you're going to maintain and you're going to eat a healthy diet. So these 5 tips are really interesting and important, because the Buddha told us if we are not eat in moderation, especially what we call by the word mindful eating, that really causes us to trouble in our spiritual path. Because you might remember one of the incidents that happened between the Buddha and the King Kosala. One day when King Kosala came to see the Buddha, and then Buddha saw that he was in pain, he was in discomfort, and then the Buddha said, "Dear King, please eat in moderation. When you eat in moderation, your food start to digest smoothly, and you age and you age slowly." That's also important, right? Now in the West, people like to age slowly. One of the things that the food that they are eating. Now, think about what you're eating, right? So it really helps us to age gradually. We don't need to age fast. We need to age gradually. And then the king said, "Dear Buddha, I can't remember this stanza." So I asked one of my friends in the palace to learn this stanza, and then to recite every time I'm eating. And then what happened? Every time when the king was eating, that friend started to recite the stanza. In 6 months, he lost weight. And it says that he ate a bucket of rice at the beginning, but in the 6 months he practiced mindful eating. He only ate one fourth of that bucket of rice. So he was aiming at a smaller portion of the food. That's also important, right? So looking at the mindful eating, you're going to look at overeating, you're going to look at emotional eating, you're going to look at the food that you are eating, all that stuff. So they all help you to become a person of good spirituality, especially when it comes to Buddhism. If you are sick, you can practice Buddhism, right? So that's why Buddha says we don't need to be sick by purpose, intentionally, because when you are healthy, it really helps you to practice Dhamma, so that one day when you are working on the secular path of Buddhism, you get very successful. At the same time, on another note, when you are really serious about this path, you may also attain one of the enlightened person. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share in my talk. I know that this is a little bit off topic for a Vesak, but I don't think it's off topic in a sense, because this is really important, because this is something that we do all the times, because people eat all the time, right? Not even just the 3 meals. They're munching, they're eating, they're looking for food all the time. So that's why this is very important. And if you can look at your food habits, how you eat food, and the connection between your food habits and your health and your mentality, all that is connected, and they all go hand in hand. Okay, so now we could go for a Q&A session, and I would like to know more about you. Thank you.
Any questions for Hamdru?
Yeah, you could take time. Maybe this topic, maybe it's Buddhism in general, maybe on Vesak Day, maybe about the Buddha, anything.
Anybody have any questions?
I have one.
Okay, please go ahead, Akin.
How do you prevent from getting bad dreams?
How do we prevent from getting bad dreams?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Okay.
Doesn't make sense. I know.
Okay. So dreaming is very common to all of us. And in Buddhist teachings, there are different reasons why people dream. One of the reasons is the day-to-day events. Okay, so we can't relate all our dreams to supernatural, something predictive stuff. One reason is day-to-day things that we've been projecting, we've been so much into that, right? That kind of stuff. So that's one reason. Another reason is some inflammatory issues, your phlegm, the body things, right? Inflammatory reasons. Another thing could be like what we knew from the Buddha's life. Um, he to dream, and we know in one of the Jataka story called Mahasupina Jataka, King Kosala saw 16 dreams, right? So some awkward dreams too. So some supernatural dreams too. I mean, one of the reasons why people dream is some supernatural beings wanted to share something. So that's pretty uncommon, right? But mostly we see dreams because of the day-to-day things and projections. Among these, we call them nightmares, right? Bad dreams. Sometimes we are too troubled with some bad dreams.
Excuse me.
So you don't need to worry about it, because subconsciousness, or this inner mind activates at different times in our sleep. So it can happen to all of us. So the best way to prevent the bad dreams is you need to calm down before you sleep. Don't get angry, don't get jealous, don't be unhappy, don't be comparing to others. Do a little bit of a loving kindness meditation and peacefully, calmly go to sleep. So those of them who have unfinished business with other people, their life on a day, they will come to you at night. So settle down before you sleep. Do a bit of loving kindness meditation. May I be well, happy, peaceful. May no harm come to me. May no problems come to me. May no difficulties come to me. That kind of meditation, and then relax, and then go to sleep. That will really help prevent you from bad dreams. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Senator, did you want to ask a question?
Yeah. You have to be mindful. You have to be mindful eating. Only eating when you're hungry.
If possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good question, though. We had to look into that question in different aspects. I would say, yeah, that's the best way. Eat only when you are hungry. But there are times that, let's say, nowadays you are at home, right? You can't go out, so you might, you might need to look into different ways of maintaining you, but don't eat too much. Maybe you need to drink plenty of water or something, But when it comes to food, just grab the food only when you are hungry. That's a good thing. So you are maintaining consistently your meals, breakfast, lunch, and your supper or dinner. That's good. Because the opposite is that when you are not hungry, you're gonna eat. You have no purpose of eating, and you just eat because you see the food. You can have access to the food, and that won't make that much sense. And you will develop greedy thoughts towards the food. Yeah, please.
Does dessert count as mindful eating or emotional eating?
Dessert.
Yeah.
Very good question. uh, hmm. Well, I mean, if you maintain this dessert part, like not taking dessert after every meal, right? That there's a lot of sugar. You could see a lot of processed sugar in the desserts, right? So if you can really stay consistent, let's say you only have a dessert for lunch, maybe for dinner, because it's too much sugar, which is not good. So if you can you know nail down this understanding of cutting on sugary stuff, I would say that you can limit that to a certain one meal. Hopefully that will be good, because as the kids, you need to eat some good food too, right? Maybe sometimes this kind of a dessert, but not with all the meals, right? So you can, you know, you can find your own comfortable planning for that, but not with every meal. That is not good. Not even for you, but even for all of us. Too much processed stuff. We have lots of time. Yeah.
Any other questions, children?
Yeah. Take your time.
If you don't mind, maybe something that maybe all of us kind of struggle with too. You kind of talked about multitasking. So, like, I know like a lot of people might eat while watching videos, reading books, or talking. Can you talk about that a little bit too?
Okay, that's a very good
Might not
question.
be-
But treat this as not one big answer to all those scenarios. Okay, but there is something that we need to think about. Uh, in short, I would say multitasking is a good thing when it comes to the modern world. Especially people have to multitask sometimes when you're at work. I don't know. I mean, how far that affects kids, children, but maybe sometimes. According to the Buddhist teachings, what I can tell you is that when you eat, as now our topic today is eating, right? When you eat, if you can give more attention towards the eating experience, that would be the nicest thing. Because then you know what you're eating and the speed of eating, and you are focusing on your plate, and you are caring yourself, right? Because you are not eating for other people, right? You're eating for yourself. So that's what we can understand about it. Rather than I'm not saying that everybody should not multitask while eating. We can't say something like that. But it's really good if you could only focus on food experience while you're eating. That makes you much better, both physically and mentally. Is someone eating while watching this Dhamma talk? No. Okay. Some people can't take that, They really want to eat, so there are no moderation, no limits for their cravings. So one of the things is food cravings, right? I think we did not talk that much of the term called food cravings. So food cravings, are the context of this mindless eating, right? So we got to be very careful in terms of different food, so that you know what to eat, what not to eat, at what time you want to eat. So are these students studying three unwholesome roots in the Dhamma school from the teachers? Have they already learned them, or are they yet to learn from the teachers?
They are yet to learn.
Yet to learn, okay. That's, okay. Because one of them is Lobha, greed. So
Yeah, Lobha, Dosha, Moha.
Lobha,
So
Dosha,
actually,
Moha.
yeah, we can just kind of introduce that just for children to choose what is right, what is wrong. So in their actions, based on these three, maybe.
Okay, so Buddhism teaches three. I mean, some people translated this in different terms. Three poisons. I mean, I would say three unwholesome roots. The first being greed. So when someone is into emotional eating or mindless eating, I would say they are developing lobha, greed, because lobha is not just for the people and things, but also for food, right? So you can eat good food, nutritional food, but if you develop excessive desires, I would say greed towards foods, and you are you are caught up in that unwholesome root, right? And then what happens if you don't get that food all the time? You are so angry, you are pestering your mom, I want that food, can you buy it for me? That's somebody's I would say what would you how would you introduce the people who are really into chocolate? Chocoholic, am I right? People who are chocoholic, they want chocolates, right, all the time, right? In case your mom and dad can't buy chocolates for you, the one that you really like, the brand or whatever, getting really angry sometimes. It's pretty bad. That's called dosa, the second poison, hatred. And the third one, when you are greedy, lobha, into lobha, when you are angry, into dosa, then what happens to you? You never know what's going to happen. Then you are into ignorance, moha. See, one small food craving, see where that took you. It takes you to all the unwholesome roots, which is pretty bad. That's why I'm telling you can eat chocolate, but you need to know that you should not develop it to a craving, right? Craving is bad. You can eat, right? But not developing it to a level of craving. So that's not a way of a Buddhist person.
Any more questions, children? Looks like no more questions.
Yeah, so are there any questions from the teacher's side for students? Maybe we can discuss for a few minutes if you have time. Because we have time, right? Limit
Yes,
of
sir.
time. If any teacher can present a question so we can discuss a question that is friendly with the student.
Yeah, maybe how I guess one thing that's for school kids as they kind of grow up, sometimes like talk about like maybe like the peer pressure and when seeing other kids doing it, or like if like even if they're like not feeling like I guess even eating, right, like not craving something, but even when the other kids are doing it, sometimes it feels like I try to fit in. Maybe if you can talk about that.
Okay, that's a good thing. I think BB
I have
talk.
a question.
Okay, yeah,
Yes,
please go ahead.
okay, go ahead.
Can my dad talk with you?
Can your dad talk to me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
wait, my dad's coming.
okay, sure. Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay, no problem. So going back to the question asked by Ashan uncle, I would like to say talk a little bit about the peer pressure. And I think we talked about the peer pressure under mindless eating triggers, right? Let's say that we've been figuring out different reasons why people are into mindless eating. Stress, boredom, you know we talked about habits, we talked about peer pressure too, in a way, social gathering, or maybe your friend circles, right? Okay, so yeah, that's a question. We may have peer pressure for many things, maybe in school, maybe when you're studying, maybe when you're doing other things like sports as well, especially when it comes to food. We know that you can politely present yourself in that kind of a scenario, right? Let's say if you have a sugarless kind of a habit, you can politely share that with the friend who wants you to eat that in a better way, not like telling all the group that I'm not eating this thing or something, right? Which is not really polite. But you know who to talk, right? Let's say the person who organized this thing, you can politely say or decline that, because you have your own personal food journey, experiential path. So nobody should be able to ruin that, because it's a big deal. One day, with your process of growth, it matters to all of us. That's why when the devotees bring dana to the monks, you know that when the devotees bring dana to the monks, it's a big chaotic scenario which has been going for many decades. Some people, they pester, especially in our culture. People pester, right? People kind of force us to. Some people kind of force us to eat, but you can politely say, "Thank you for invitation, but I'm okay. Thank you for." So you should find out a polite and a very diplomatic and a smart way to behave at that time, not being very aggressive, not being very angry about that particular request, right? Because it's a situation you can handle better. That's why I'm telling you need to be smart. Sometimes your food habits, your mindful eating habits can display to other as being very how would I say, as being very pressurizing things, right? Sometimes in your family, when you uh, uh, you know maintain a balance between your diets, when you maintain your mindful eating, sometimes your parents also might get upset about you. We bought this for you, you need to eat that. So you have to talk very friendly with them, and they will understand. Today they understood, I guess, and I don't think they will do that. And on your side, you shouldn't make it a very big angry point to be with them. Just be friendly and try to politely convince them that this is what I like, and please understand me. So that's the Buddhist way. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's great, Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully, any kids have any other questions? Suki?
Can be any other topic. It
Yeah,
doesn't have
not
Yeah.
just limiting to food.
anything. Yeah.
Maybe Vesak,
Anything.
maybe the Buddhist teachings. Yeah. And this time I think they didn't get a chance to observe 8 precepts, right? Normally they do, right?
Yeah,
Normally
no,
they do,
they
right?
didn't this
In the
time,
temple.
yeah.
Okay. If there are no more questions, we can then close this, right? Is it okay? Okay. Let's give it some few more minutes.
Any questions, children?
How many children are there on this virtual discussion today?
It's about 24, and with the siblings, it's 30, Hamdran.
Oh,
Yeah, 24 participants, but 30 children altogether.
30 children, because
Yeah,
there
the
are,
siblings as well.
yeah, 2, 3 on one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess maybe can you talk a little bit about how as kids you have to, I guess, or like not you have to, you get to eat things that you might not want, like from the parents' side, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe can you talk about like the value of that? Maybe sometimes you don't feel like eating, but it might be what's best for you, or like, I don't know what you what's your point of view?
Okay, that's a good question. The thing is that now at this point, kids and their parents, they have been used to a certain way of eating food, and then how much food that they are eating, right? So this is a big changing point today. So if they really want to kind of question and then explore more about what we've been talking today, yeah. So one thing is that they can discuss, definitely, because this is not a hardcore kind of a thing. They can discuss, definitely. And I know that kids are using internet, Google. They can look up all this, the food, junk food, nutritional food, the importance of mindful eating, right? And I don't know. I mean, this could be a problem, like when it comes to convincing your parents, in some ways, because parents might have been used to a certain mindless eating process, mindless eating, system, right? So, but anyways, I mean, you might perhaps not be able to change them, but over time you may be able. But because I've been talking to children today, so you are the focus today, so you can You can explore these things. You can change your lifestyle if you are into mindless eating, and then slowly over the time, your parents and your other people will understand. Now, this can this can this can affect other people too, right? Now for example, I know if you have a friend who doesn't add sugar to tea, if you know such a person, over time, you get affected with that person, right? So that's why Buddha says, please be with wise people, wise individuals, kalyana mittas, because when you are with kalyana mittas, I'm not saying somebody who doesn't add sugar is a kalyana mitta. I'm just saying who is maintaining this mindful eating is a kalyana mitta. So it will affect you. If you can be that kalyana mitta, you can affect your parents. But it takes time. It can take time. Don't worry, but at least you understood what to do. Is that all? If there are no more questions, we can wrap this up by sharing good karmas with the departed relatives and the deities. As you know that in the Buddhist teachings, we have this customary habit of sharing good karmas after we finish any good event with the people who passed away in the name of all of us. So may all the good karmas, let's put our palms together when we do this meritorious thing. May all the good karmas we've been accumulating in all these ways. First, you observed 5 precepts, and then you did a bit of loving kindness meditation, and then the breath meditation, and then listen to a Dhamma talk about how to develop the practice of mindful eating, not the mindless eating, and then engage in a discussion of this kind of an eye-opening discussion about this topic. So we've been accumulating a lot of good karmas in all these ways. May all these good karmas be shared by all the departed relatives who passed away in the name of all of us. Especially the people who died in this situation, from this situation. May all they be happy and peaceful. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñāteyo. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñāteyo. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñāteyo. Also, we need to share all the good karmas with the devas, deities. Not even the deities, but also the nagas. They are all protective deities. May all the devas, nagas, basically deities, share in all these good karmas. May they be happy and peaceful. May they bless all of you, your family, your parents, your siblings, all of you, for good health, long life, and all the good things. Your education, everything. May the deities and nagas also be happy and peaceful. May they also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ettavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu lokasasanang. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu desanang. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu mang paranti. Okay, so thank you for joining this whole Dhamma program. I'm happy to talk to you today. I know a lot of people there. This is not the first time I've been with you kind of people like you. I want to thank Bhante Chandananda, your chief monk in the temple, and the other monks, also the devotees, especially your parents and the teachers in the Dhamma school. Finally, let's make a great wish. May all the good karmas that we've been accumulating so far help all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now I'm going to be blessing you with couple more stanzas. Please receive the blessings. Abhivadana silis nichang vadhapachayino Chattaru dhamma vadhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha atu nibbana sampatti iminati saminchatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, Thiruvan Saranai, and stay safe because until the situations gets better.
Thiruvan Saranai, Alhamdulillah.
Thiruvan Saranai.
We're thankful for having you join us for this session. But lots of good merits to you and Thiruvan Saranai.
Thank you.
Everyone say
Sadhu.
sadhu.
Thiruvan Saranai.
Okay, kids, we'll be ending the Dhamma school now. See you